Hello and welcome to the Hack Divorce Course Financials module. My name is Michelle. I'm a family law mediator and creator of the Hack Divorce Course. Check out the link below to download the free financial module workbook that accompanies these videos. And if you're a DIYer and would like to write your own separation agreement, click on the link below to purchase my definitive sourcebook of family law separation agreement clauses. This one-of-a-kind, indispensable resource will show you a dozen examples of real, comprehensive separation agreements with tips and tools so you can competently write your own agreement. Be sure to like and subscribe, and now, let's get on with it. Alimony in Canada is decided using guidelines. Ultimately, the goal is that each party should be financially independent of the other as soon as possible. Understandably, there are cases where a person may never be able to be financially independent, and those constitute the first two guidelines. So the first guideline is an age consideration. If one party to the marriage has been consistently dependent on the other to provide for the finances of the home, and if that person is older, it may be very difficult for them to enter the workforce and become financially independent. First of all, it's challenging to get hired for jobs the older you are, and especially if you've not been working for a very long time. If this is your situation, then there could be a substantial reason for you to need alimony. The second guideline and reason that an ex-spouse may never be able to become financially independent is because of a permanent disability. This one is self-explanatory. If you have a permanent disability, not only should you consider spousal support as a means of financial help, but you must also look into any government assistance you may qualify for under your new status of being single or divorced. What's more, many disabled people find that there are jobs and small business ideas that are compatible with their condition and that will allow them to participate in contributing financially to themselves. It's important that people really try to help themselves as much as possible, not only because the courts expect it, but because doing so gives a person purpose and can contribute to a better state of mental well-being and even physical well-being. The third guideline applies to people who have children at home who are below school age and require a caregiver to be present. The most typical scenario is a mom who stayed home with a young child since he or she was born, and the married couple has made a choice for the mom to stay home rather than to return to the work and put the child in daycare. In a scenario like this, spousal support may be suitable until the child attends school. The fourth guideline has to do with education. Sometimes a party to a separation has not completed post-secondary education that will allow them to make a reasonable amount of money to independently support themselves. For instance, if a spouse has worked a part-time job at a minimum wage paying company and they have no college diploma to help them be upwardly mobile, they will need some help in order to get financially independent. In most cases, this will mean attending college or university for a period of time to empower their wage earning ability. While this person is attending school, they may need spousal support to make ends meet, knowing that the goal is financial independence. Finally, the fifth guideline takes into consideration how long the couple has been married. A long-term marriage in Canada is 20 years or longer. The longer a couple has been married, the more likely spousal support may be warranted. Whenever possible, alimony should have an end goal for termination. It's better for both parties if spousal support is for a finite time because it means that eventually the parties will once and for all be separate in every way other than being parents to their children. Not only are there physical benefits to being financially independent, such as not having to answer to your ex about support-related issues, there's a powerful psychological benefit to being one's own free agent financially. A plan should be worked out between ex-spouses if alimony will be paid. This plan will take into consideration the reasonable financial need of the support recipient. This is where the budget comes into play. If you've done the budget worksheet, understanding what the areas of need may be becomes fairly easy. But beyond need is the question of whether the other party can reasonably provide the support that's being requested. It costs a lot to start over again, and if the payer is already paying child support, there's only so much money to go around without causing undue hardship. If it will be a challenge for the paying party to fairly and reasonably provide the amount of support being requested, then other options must be considered. Using the Path to Financial Independence worksheet can help you assess the need, resources, and timeline that should be considered if you'll be including spousal support in your agreement. The Path to Financial Independence worksheet is an excellent resource to help you begin working out the details of how much money is needed for support, how long the support will last for, and what actionable steps the support receiver can take to get themselves into financial independence. Understandably, some people may not be able to achieve full financial independence, but where possible, it should be done. So, in question number 1, I want you to check off which of the guidelines applies to your situation. You can pick multiple ones if they apply from the following. The spousal support recipient is age 55 plus with little or no employment history, has permanent disability that makes working a challenge, has a child younger than school age, needs more education to be employed at reasonable wage, long-term marriage of 20 years plus. Next, in number 2, I want you to go to mysupportcalculator.ca and calculate your spousal support range. I'll give you a demonstration of how to do that now. So we're going to calculate support using something called My Support Calculator Online. This is for Canadians, although it could be useful for anybody. We're going to click on it here. We're going to select Calculate Support. We're going to go to We Have Children. I know that sounds a little counterintuitive, but it's the one we need. So we're going to select from the free and unlimited edition, go, and now we have to fill some information in. I've gone ahead and done this in advance just so we can work through this a little more quickly, but you see we've selected spousal support only here, not child support. The date of marriage was August 21st, 1993, separation date April 1st, 2021. Patricia is the person who's going to be receiving the support, so we put her in first. And we got her birth date information here and how much money she makes every year. We scroll down a little bit. John as well, his birth date information and his employment income. I'm going to hit the calculate button and let's see what it tells us. Okay, so it has calculated how long the marriage lasted. And by 27.5 years, we know it's a long-term marriage. And as we scroll down here, we see that they've given us a range. So there are a number of scenarios to choose from here. And this is just a guideline. It's to give an idea of what could be appropriate for the situation. Now, understandably, some scenarios may not be able to afford this amount of support and others may require more, but it's basically a place to start from. All right, so we can see that the low number here is $1,406 a month, and that the high number here is $1,791. Now, if John and Patricia still have children at home, they got to calculate child support into this. That will go down, all right, because John also has to pay child support. So that's something to consider. When you go onto this website, you can play with the numbers a little bit and see how it works, and it will give you a fairly good idea of what's reasonable. Now, you'll also notice here that it says unspecified duration. That's because it's a long-term marriage. If your marriage was shorter than 20 years, then it might actually give you a range of how many years paying support would be appropriate for. So anyways, this is a really great tool to give you a good idea and an explanation here of what you can expect possibly in the spousal support department. So hopefully you can give this a try and see what kind of results it will give you. Okay, so now we know what mysupportcalculator.ca is suggesting for support, but we need to check it against your situation and see what you believe is a reasonable amount of spousal support. So think about that and your reasons for it and put it on this line. Question number 4 is looking for an honest assessment of whether or not the spousal support payer can reasonably pay the amount of spousal support in number 2 and or number 3. Now, using the information received on mysupportcalculator.ca and your own thoughts, how long should spousal support last? Finally, we need a plan to help the spousal support receiver get into a position of financial independence from their ex. Use these lines to outline a plan to help the receiver achieve that. The legal clauses that you can use in the spousal support section of your agreement are lengthy, and I'm not going to list them in this video. There are several examples in the Real Agreements PDF, and the best approach is for you to read through these examples. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to grab your copy of my indispensable resource for writing your own separation agreement, the definitive sourcebook of family law separation agreement clauses. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.